make your way down onto your mat. Maybe have a seat on a cushion or a block, depending on how you're feeling. And during practice today, as we move, recognize that there very well may be some things that feel really great, and there may be some things that feel really not great. And you're always welcome to choose them, to change them rather, to skip them, or to do them, whatever you like. But really notice where your mind goes when things happen and you're like, I don't like this. Can you move and feel what you're feeling and accept what's there? So bring the soles of your feet together for Baddha Konasana, bound angle. And you can shift around here. We're going in pretty cold, unless maybe you've already warmed up today. But just notice, like, what does it feel like right away to have your feet pressing together, knees coming out to the side? And do your knees want to be propped up with cushions or blocks? Do they feel pretty good like this? Does fidgeting make this feel like something you can be more okay with? Or does stillness really work for you right now? And you can stay upright, really focusing on that hip hinge and finding length in your back, or you could choose to fold forward more, whatever feels right. Whatever brings you a little more contentment, a little more okayness. And as always, if you enjoy Ujjayi breath, that gentle constriction in the back of your throat so that you can hear your breath, you could practice using Ujjayi breath or just like really focusing on breathing freely. But considering if it works for you, breath can be kind of a nice anchor as we move through different positions. As you're ready, come back up to an upright position if you're not already there, and bring your legs out into what for you is a wide V. Doesn't have to be super wide, just make it a sustainable position. And press down a little through your heels. You might jiggle your legs, kind of bending and straightening each one. Place the soles of your, they're not soles, place the tips of your fingers on the floor and see if you can find some really an upright position here. And then flex your feet, send your knees towards straight so that you're bringing some engagement into your legs here. A couple of deep breaths. And then decide, do you want to fold forward more here? So you might walk your hands forward and you might stay right up in this position of like really finding length, lifting up through the top of your head and really squeezing your legs. But if you decide to fold forward, notice how it works for you. Where do you feel a stretch? If you feel any. And you might try sort of rolling your legs forward a little bit so that you're rotating them a little bit and they may not move at all, but that kind of firming of your leg muscles and aiming to roll them forward just a little to see like, does that change what you're feeling in this position? Sometimes it makes a forward fold feel better, and sometimes it doesn't. So if it doesn't, if it makes it feel worse, you can totally skip that part. If you're folded forward, come on back up and grab one of your blocks if you have a block. And if you don't have a block, grab your imaginary block. Set it down next to your left leg, kind of near your lower leg. Bring your fingertips to the ground. Jiggle your legs again, like pressing down through your heels. And then straighten your legs to the degree that they want to be straight. And you can keep your feet flexed or you can point them for this. And however it works for you, see if it's possible to lift that foot and bring it over your block. And notice it might require leaning back, it might require bending your knee. But notice if it is possible. Give it a try. And if it feels like, oh, that's pretty easy, you might try making your block higher and seeing, like, does that work? And just try it a couple times. Maybe you try putting it on the highest setting and see what that feels like. Woo. And when you're done playing around with it on the first side, you can move on to the second side. But just notice, like, if you're trying this, what does it require? And, like, what does it feel like? And if it's not something that feels like a good challenge, it's okay to skip it. And it's okay to, like, be okay with skipping it. It's okay to say, hey, my body doesn't like this and it's not going to do it. And I am accepting that and feeling okay with it. So once you feel like that's complete, you might bring your feet out in front of you, kind of in a bent knee, but wide-ish V, and just kind of rock your legs back and forth gently, noticing how things are feeling. And then bring your legs out straight and jiggle them a couple more times, maybe flap them kind of back and forth a little bit. And then take your time finding what for you is a comfortable seat. If it's comfortable to sit on a block on your knees, you might try that. That's what I'm going to do because I like that position. It feels supportive for me. And once you're in a comfortable seated position, try some arm circles. And by arm circles, I mean whatever gets you moving from your shoulder. So it can look like anything. It might be those really strict kind of controlled articular rotations that we sometimes do. But it might just be like really noticing what actually feels good and what works for you. And once you've moved in one direction a few times, see what it's like to move in the other direction. So reversing your circles and just noticing, like, oh, is that different? Maybe so. Maybe try one or two more circles in whatever direction you like. And then shake things out a little, just seaweed them around a little. Find a gentle, floppy kind of movement. And when you're ready, make your way into tabletop position. Tabletop can be on hands and knees, it can be on fists and knees, and it can also be using your blocks. Once you're in tabletop, try a few cat cows first. Coming into cow, dropping your stomach down towards the floor, lifting your chin. And then coming into cow as you're ready. sorry, cat, as you're ready. Arching your back, tucking your chin in towards your chest. Try a few of those at your own pace. And if at some point you would like to turn these into barrel rolls, you might try rolling your ribs over to one side, then bringing them down and around to the other side, then up and around to the other side, and moving in that lateral way. Really noticing which of these spinal movements works for you. Can you really listen to your body, accept what it has to say, and work from there, work from that truth? And if you're doing barrel rolls in one direction, see what it's like to do them in the other direction. And it's okay if one direction works and the other one doesn't. Sometimes that's the case for me. And I think, wow, that's weird, but that's the way it is. As you're ready, come back to a neutral for you position. Walk your hands forward a little. You can lean your hips back as much as you like, and then walk your hands over to the left for a bit, seeing if you can feel a side stretch through that outer side of your body. And then walk your hands over to the other side, aiming to find a stretch through your other side body. You can send your hips back on the diagonal if that helps. And when you're ready, come back to center. And then you can send your hips back to the extent that they want to go back. And if it's uncomfortable to do that, you might bring a pillow or a couple of cushions between your hamstrings and your calves as you bring them back. You might stack your hands to make a pillow or rest your forehead on the floor. And you can try shifting around, trying different positions here to see what feels supportive.